Hey guys, it's Stealth here. Today I'm going to be looking at how to get started at Factorio. If you're not familiar with this game, it's a currently early access game, but I gotta say it's one of the most polished early access games I've seen so far. Now right here you're seeing your own character. The graphics aren't great, but in the long term that doesn't really matter so long as the gameplay is good, and I gotta say this game's gameplay is good. Anyway, here I am, in the middle of nowhere. I have absolutely nothing yet. I just started up this game. And what I want to do first is get a little bit of production going. Now what I'm going to need for that is a pickaxe. And by pressing E, you can bring up your crafting menu. Now over here you can see the logistics tab, you can see the production tab, you can see the intermediate products, which is, let's say, the resources that are used by some of the other factories. And you have personal weaponry. What I want to do is build a pickaxe or an iron axe. You have enough resources from the get-go to build one. So you just click on that and down in the bottom you can see it's built. Now it's done and your pickaxe appears right here. It's equipped automatically. Now what I also have is two structures. One is a burner mining drill. The other one's a stone furnace, and I'm going to need both. Right from the get-go, if you start out with your new quest or with your new gameplay, you want to start off by mining a little bit of stone. You're going to need a little bit of this. To do that, you first craft the pickaxe, as I've done, and then you hold right click. You're going to see that I'm starting to mine some stuff here. Now, I have a bit of stone, which I might be able to use later on. Next up, what I want to find is a bit of iron ore. If you zoom out, you can see what kind of resources there are. This is stone. Over here I have some more stone. Over here I have a little bit of iron ore, but it's not too much. And if you press M, you're going to go to the map. And you can see that there are some blue specks up in the north. And down here in the south there's a larger black speck of dots. That is coal. First though, I want to get some iron. I'm going to need the iron to build my first little structure. Now to do that, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to mine some iron ore. This initially takes a while. Later on, it's going to be automated. And that's exactly what this game is about. How can you automate what you're currently doing manually? The game has a lot of ways you can do that. First off, you're going to have to do it by hand. And quite literally, you're going to have to do it with a pickaxe. I'm going to continue until I have 20. There, now I have 20. Now I'm going to continue to head south to find that coal blip that we saw on the map earlier. Because coal initially is your main fuel. It powers your factories. Oh, there's another nice field of iron ore here. The coal powers your factories and especially your furnaces. This is the coal. You can see it's coal, and over on the right side you can see the amount, the mining time, the mining hardness, etc. Now what I want to do is build this thing, the burner mining drill. As I'm hovering over this, you can see how much resources this thing gets access to. You can see that by the 3.2k, 3.9k. As I'm hovering over it, that number actually changes. I'm going to put it on the edge for now. Let's just put it like that. 2.1k, I can always move it in further. Actually, let's start in a bit closer here, 4k. Now, it says it doesn't have any fuel. And that's because this thing, if you click on it, it requires fuel. Fuel can be either stone or, coal or wood. Now, I don't have any wood nearby. But what I do have is plenty of coal. So I'm just going to mine a little bit of that stuff. Now I have coal. Now I click on the burner mining drill and I can add the coal. But when I do that, the thing is going to spit out the coal right at the arrow here. You can see it's being thrown on the floor, and the machine will quickly stop because it just cannot stash it anywhere. So we're going to have to produce something that can either pick that up, store that, or make sure that I have some sort of conveyor belt, because this thing is going to need some coal itself. So I'm going to need to set up a sort of self-supplying coal center. And that's exactly what I got all of that iron for. Now I need to have some iron plates in order to make a transporter belt. But in order to make the iron plates, I'm going to need to go and build a furnace first. I'm going to go with a stone furnace. It doesn't really matter where you put that down. But this thing again is going, oh, I need fuel. I don't have any fuel currently. Now you can go over to your exit from your machine. It's hard to see, but there's a little bit of coal on the floor. And you can pick that up by pressing F, and the machine starts up again. So I'm going to throw in the coal that I picked up under fuel, and the iron ore is going to go in resources. And now it starts to create my iron plates. And that's actually the first step. But again, this thing just keeps putting it out right there, which means I don't really have any use for that. So what I want to do is build a small conveyor belt. And for the conveyor belt, I need my iron plates. So I go into the stone furnace, I just drag whatever comes out of the factory to my own character. And now I can build some more of those transport belts. I'm going to build a few. Now these things don't take very long to build at all. And I'm going to slap those down right at the exit of my miner. So there it is, and you can see it's immediately transporting coal. I'm going to make this a sort of small circle. And it doesn't even have to be a full circle. This is pretty much enough. What I now want to make is one of these, a burner inserter. And for that I'm going to need to get a iron gear wheel. That's one of those intermediate resources or intermediate products. And in order to do that, I'm going to need some more iron plates. So, get the iron plates again from the furnace, which by now is out of fuel. And now I can craft one of those, or you can go immediately back to logistics and get a burner inserter. Now what an inserter does is pretty much grab something from a conveyor belt, a box or anything else, and put it back, or put it towards the arrow. So here's my burner inserter. And you can see it has both a triangle and a large dash behind it. The triangle means this is where I'm going to put it, and the dash means this is where I'm going to take it from. So by doing this, I can now set up my coal miner to do a sort of infinity loop. It's going to take coal from the conveyor belt and put it back in. At the same time, it's going to keep putting out the coal. So I put it down there, and first it's going to take some fuel for itself, because again, these things take fuel. And you can see that it's now throwing coal back into the mining drill. And it just keeps that thing topped up on 5 fuel, or 5 coal. That's the most you can stush into it with a converter. With an inserter. But now at the same time, I have a whole lot of coal going absolutely nowhere. And this is a bit of a waste. Because my coal is just lying there. And I don't really want to have to pick that up and start to manually drag that stuff all the way to where I want it to be. So I'm going to move to the edge of my conveyor belt and try to pick up the coal. Which is not really working exactly. You know what, I can just steal some of the coal from this thing, because the conveyor is going to throw it back in anyway. There. Now I have a bit of coal. I can throw that back into my furnace. I can take the steel plate. And now I'm going to redirect the last bit of this conveyor belt. You just hover over it and you press R. You can see it changes direction. I want to build some more conveyor belts. Like that. And I'm going to turn the other way. I'm going to start heading towards my furnace. Now, unfortunately my furnace is a bit out of the way here. It's too close to the conveyor belt for me to be able to put an inserter between them. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to move it one space south, so that now I can put a converter between them. Unfortunately, I don't have the required amount of iron again to start building one of those inserters. So it's back to the iron facility, or back to the iron field. Yep, here it is. It's a bit dark. The game does have daylight and nighttime, I suppose you could say, times or time zones. I don't need a ton of this stuff. It's just a little bit here and there. 8 should probably do it. back to my starting factory. I'm going to throw in the coal. I'm also going to throw in the iron. And I'm just going to have to wait a little bit until that thing is done building the iron plates. I don't need too many. I just need enough to build the iron gear wheel and the iron plate, and then I can build the burner inserter. So I think that 3 should do it. Burner inserter, built me 1. I make sure that I put that up the right way, so the dash goes towards the conveyor belt and the arrow points towards the furnace. And now the furnace is automatically being fed from the conveyor belt. And now I no longer have to pay any kind of attention to the coal requirement here. Unfortunately, I'm still having to go to and back from the iron setup. Now the iron is quite a long way away, so what I really want to do is build yet another one of those conveyor belts. I would love to be able to tie these things together. Initially though, you may not be able to do that. So what I'm going to start off by doing again, by the way, because my thing broke down, is build another iron axe. Because it was taking forever to get the iron ore mined. You just grab a little bit of iron ore, and once you're done, you can go back and build another one of those production facilities, which is these. I want to have another burner mining drill. I want to make sure that I get my iron production or my iron plates production automated. So I'm going to throw in some more iron ore. It's going to start burning up. I also want to build a chest, so I'm going to need to find some wood. Normally, later on in the game, you can just automate the whole thing and tie those two resources together, but it's going to take a little bit more time right now. I'm just going to chop down some trees here. And now I can build a chest. Now the chest is done. Next up, I want to have my iron plates that are just spit out by the stone furnace there. I'm going to build another burner inserter. Now first I'm going to put on my chest, I'm going to put it next to the conveyor belt, but make sure there's one bit of space between it. Like that. Then I take my burner inserter and I make sure it's taking again from the conveyor belt, because as you can see the conveyor belt is pretty much filling up. There is no more room for the coal. And what's now going to happen is that the conveyor belt, or the inserter here, is going to stash the coal inside the wooden chest. It's pretty much the excess coal. The burner inserter, or the burner mining drill here, is constantly being fed, because if it needs something, it's going to drag that off of the conveyor belt first before sending it on towards either the furnace or the chest. So I don't have to worry about this one, I don't have to worry about that one. And all of the excess coal I can just pick up, drag to my own character inventory, and let's see, pick up the rest of the iron plates there. Now I want to build one of those burner mining drills, and unfortunately I lack a little bit of iron, so I'm going to have to go back and get some more. And again, it may look a little bit tedious, but later on in the game this can also be beautifully automated and you don't have to pay any kind of attention to it. I'm going to build up a little bit of supply again, go back to the furnace, and start throwing in the iron. You can see it's now fully stashed on coal. I can still throw in more if I need to, but 6 is plenty. And it starts to spit out iron plates again. Now I can build a burner mining drill. So I'm going to make one of those, and I'm going to create another chest. Also I'm going to take more of the excess coal that I have here. You can see I already have 50 by now. So I have plenty. Now back up north towards the coal facility. Sorry, towards the iron facility. I want to put down first the burner mining drill, and then my chest right at the exit of this thing. And now I can throw in the coal, and notice that this thing does not get automatically fed. There is no coal nearby, so for now I'm going to have to go back and forth between the coal facility and my iron facility to first drag the iron plates back to the furnace and bring the coal up north to my iron production. That's going to be tedious, especially over a longer period of time, and that's not something that I want to do. So in order to fix that, I'm going to have to make some more transport belts. And transport belts, of course, require iron plates and iron gear wheels. So I'm going to keep taking as much of the iron ore as possible, running back to my furnace here, throwing it in the furnace. And by the way, as I was talking, he already produced some. So I'm going to build some more of this stuff. Now you can do either of two things. You can say, okay, I want to have one large conveyor belt going from south to north. That's definitely possible. You can also say, well, I want to make sure that there is this crate in between, so that if I want to tie into, for example, a stone field or an iron field later on, I can still have a stash of coal here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm also going to start moving this production, because my stone furnace over here is not really that useful. It means that I have to constantly run back and forth between the production of iron and my coal facility. So this one I'm going to break down, and they stash it automatically in your inventory. A better place to set that up would be next to the iron field here. So I'm going to take down, or I'm going to put my stone furnace back up. Doesn't really matter where I put that currently. Throw in that, take whatever's from the box, and throw that in there. And he's going to keep producing it. Now that also means I can start building some more of this stuff. By the way, one transporter belt or one click means you get 2 transporter belts. So let's build some more. Not enough ingredients, unfortunately. Now I'm going to take the other inserter, the burner inserter. If I put it down now, it's going to start spitting out the stuff and just feed itself first, of course, and then spit it out there, which really isn't useful. So what I want to do is take more conveyor belts. I'm going to keep feeding this stuff north. And then again, I run out of conveyor belts. So, back up north, get more of the stuff here, start building more conveyor belts, get this stuff, and throw that in there. Now you could say that this is getting a bit tedious. Using this box as an in-between service is taking forever. And you'd be right, it is not the most practical thing. What would be practical is that if this mine deposits its iron ore immediately into the furnace. So let's do that. I'm gonna demolish this chest, and you also get the contents from the chest. You can see it starts spitting it out there, not the most useful. I'm gonna put the burner inserter immediately behind it, and you can see it's taking some of the coal from the burner mining drill, which is fine. And I'm gonna demolish this thing and put it over here. And now what you're going to see happen is that the burner mining drill mines the iron ore. The iron ore is then fed into the furnace, and let's give it some more fuel. Not sure. Let's see, why isn't this working? That's unusual. Oh, it seems they're already being attacked. The aliens are quick this time around. You have a pistol, by the way. If you are being attacked, you have a pistol down here. You get 10 mags, which is not ideal, but it works. And yeah, the alarm is usually lagging behind a little bit. Anyway, this does not really seem to be working as best as I like it to. This thing is just taking coal for some reason. It's not taking the normal inserter, or it's not taking the normal stuff. I'm not sure why though, because normally that would really work. You throw it on a conveyor, he feeds it into a box. By the way, I can just quite literally cut out the middleman here, because these 2 burner inserters are not that useful. There, now it just keeps flowing north. And I think that I lost one bit of my transport belt here, because you can see it's no longer feeding iron. Oh, sorry, it's no longer feeding coal. That's because of those damn aliens destroyed the conveyor belt. Now you may say that this twist is a bit redundant. Not really. If I don't have this inserter here, this coal miner is going to start running out of coal, and that's not something I want to have happen. Back up to the iron fields. Alright, I'm not sure exactly why it's not working. That is really unusual. It does have plenty of iron. It Probably just doesn't have anywhere to deposit it. Alright. Let's set up a smallish conveyor belt, and these conveyor belts are really, really cheap to make, so I'm not worried at all about that. And there we go. Now it's starting to feed all of the, or as much of this iron ore as it can take into the stone furnace. And of course now my burner runs out of fuel. I have to take back a little bit of this stuff. Let's take about half. It doesn't really need that much, but that way it's going to be low maintenance. And you can see it's now constantly spitting out more and more and more iron plates. Which means I can start building more conveyors and start getting that coal north. And we're slowly but steadily starting to reach where I want to go. Again, this initial setup does take a while, but once you're set up and you have your basic production going with iron and coal, you can then pretty quickly expand and move on into newer regions. Oh, we got another bad guy here. Alright, let's make some more conveyors. Almost got enough. But what you can also see, by the way, is that I'm stuffing up here on too much of the iron ore. This miner is so efficient, and or you could say that the stone furnace is not efficient enough, that it does not take this stuff fast enough. So what I could do is build another one of those stone furnaces, and unfortunately right now I don't have enough stone. Let's see. Oh, Jesus, I spawned right next to a nest of one of those bad guys. That's rather unfortunate. Anyway, let's head back north. I'm going to mine some more stone, get another one of those furnaces going, and then finish my production. And I think that by now you can see just how gripping this game can be, because constantly you're thinking, oh wait, maybe I can automate this, or maybe I can speed this up a little bit, or maybe I can do that more effectively. There, now I have enough for 2 stone furnaces. And of course by now my iron ore production should have a little bit more of the stuff. There. I can build some more conveyor belts. And make another 2 stone furnaces, which are immediately saying, help, help, I don't have any fuel. That's okay. Couple of conveyors there. I'm going to feed that directly into the furnaces. Unfortunately, these things are going to rapidly run out of fuel, so it's a high time that I start getting my coal inserters affected. So I'm going to make this conveyor belt not touch on the foundries, but almost. Some more of that stuff. That should be plenty, and then make at least 1 burner inserter. There. Now you have full automation, or at least for coal and iron. Because what happens now is that this feeder, this burner inserter, is going to put the coal in. This one's going to put the iron ore in. And right now, over here, I have a pretty much constant production of iron ore. That is, until these fields run out. But with 1.6 thousand units of iron ore left, it's not too likely to happen anytime soon. These two don't have anything yet, but I can now build the burner inserters and get these guys to fill up as well. Now what I'm also going to do is make this into a, let's say, a more complete loop. Because a problem that I have is that this burner mining drill is still going to run out of coal, which is going to halt my entire production. So I need to extend my conveyor belt, or my transport belt. And by now the others may also have a little bit. You can see that this one is still running out of fuel. There, I picked up some of the coal manually. Can throw that into this burner inserter, and he's going to take whatever is left that the other 2 did not pick up yet and shove it in the furnace. Anyway, to finalize this video, you can probably guess what I'm going to do next. Set up a small conveyor belt system there. Get enough iron to build another one of those inserters. And now I have a pretty perfect loop Save for one thing. These burner inserters run on coal, and coal is something that I currently do not have. Or at least, that is not being fed into this system. Now, I want to make sure that I have a larger burner mining drill for iron ore later on, so I'm going to build more of those burner mining drills here. Which means that this conveyor belt is also going to continue, but I still want to feed into these. In order to do that, I'm going to set up a small secondary production loop. So I'm going to set up 2 conveyor belts. I'm going to tell one burner inserter, which should be plenty, to take some of the coal, and these things don't work fast enough to be able to take all of the coal from this thing. And they're going to feed it either into the inserters themselves. You can see that this thing is stealing a little bit for itself, and if it doesn't have anything left, it's going to feed it into the stone furnace. That does, however, bring up a problem, because eventually this is going to flood. And you can see it already happening here. My conveyor belt is flooding. Now that's something for a different video, how to deal with conveyor belts that are completely clogged with one specific resource. But for now, at the early start of the game, this is pretty much how you can automate the initial part. Because right now, and you can see, yep, I already have a problem here. This might not have been the best idea. Because what's happening now is that the iron ore is no longer flowing into these stone furnaces. So I'm going to have to figure something else out for these burner inserters. So let's pick up some of the coal here and get this conveyor belt going again, because right now my iron ore production has stopped. Which means my entire iron production has stopped. And there you go, now I'm creating iron plates again. Anyway, with this video I hope I helped you get started in the game. My game start is a bit unfortunate, especially with that large nest of aliens down to my west. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold out for very long, because the best thing I have currently is a weapon, just a pistol, a few mags. I might not be able to fend off an entire attack from these guys. Anyway, I hope this was useful to you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you have any other systems that work better for you, make a screenshot and link to that in the comments down below, because I'm interested in seeing how we can improve this thing even further. Anyway, enjoy Factorio. It's a pretty cheap game and you can have hours and hours and hours of fun with it. So enjoy, let me know what you think of the video, and I'll see you next time.